Hi everyone, hello. The day 2 of World Rapid is over and I've collected here 14 different positions from 14 different games with interesting or in my opinion instructive tactics. If you haven't watched the videos I recorded yesterday, I'll put the link into the description where I cover the examples from day 1, and for today we have as yesterday games from both open and women section. So let's get started. The first example I have is the game played between Jan-Krzysztof Duda and Maksim Chigaev. Here Jan-Krzysztof Duda took the pawn on c5 with the bishop. We can pause the video for a second and try to find an idea which Maksim Chigaev did not find in the game. So the idea here is that white has a killer move here, which is rook to g5, and after this move essentially we have unavoidable mate against the white king. So what black is threatening here is to play rook to h5, and if white captures the rook, then we play queen to g5 checkmate. And believe me or not, white doesn't really have a good way of stopping that mate. So they can go king to h3, but after rook h5, rook h4 takes, we have again a strong move h5, threatening a mate on g4 again, and if white obviously captures the pawn, we'll give a mate on g5, and if white plays something like rook to f4 to cover the g4 square, we just take on h2 and it's again a mate. So in this particular position, Maksim Chigaev could have found the move rook to g5, after which white cannot stop a mate. Very interesting, sort of a silent move, not a capture, not a check, but a move which could have won the game for Maksim. The game 2 I have here is between Vladimir, Fedoseev and Narayanan. In this position, it's a very complicated position, and Vladimir here is playing for a win. White here played the move bishop to e4, sort of pinning actually black's queen against the black king. We can pause the video for a second and try to find the brilliant continuations that Fedoseev found here. So he took the rook on f pawn with the check. Obviously white do not have time yet to capture the queen on f5. White essentially cannot capture with the knight on f1, because then we take bishop on e4, we breaks the pin and we are up a piece. So after rook takes f1, they need to go to g2, and here black takes on e3 with the check, winning the pawn, king to h2, knight to g4 back, so we get essentially the same position but without pawn on e3. And here black plays the brilliant move bishop to d5, so cross pinning the bishop, so now bishop cannot capture on a f5, and white is going to be losing material here. So if they go for something like queen takes d5, the continuation would be here knight e3 check, and after king to h2 we essentially take on d4 and we are up rook. So very nice combination here played after bishop to e4 by Vladimir Fedoseev. We have this third game from the open section as well, after which we'll move to the women's section. Here we have a game between Nepomniachtchi and Aryan Tari. It's a very difficult position for Tari, who is playing with the black pieces, and he played the move queen to h7, trying to pin the bishop on h6. You can pause the video, try to find the winning continuation that Jan found here. He played the move rook takes f7, and it's a very strong rook sacrifice. Black here took on the f7 with the queen. You cannot take with the rook because you will get mated after queen to d8. There will be a mate on f8 square. They took on f7 with the queen, and after rook takes, we have it looks like black has two rooks against the white queen, so it seems like there is an adequate material. But after queen to d8, it turns out that we win the knight on d5, and black has no time to capture on h6 because the rook on f7 is hanging. So in this position, actually, black has resigned the game. We have two examples here from the women's section in the round 5. Here I have a game between Atousa Pourkashiyan versus Anna Muzychuk. Here in a time trouble, Anna played the move queen to h5, and you can pause the video, try to find what's wrong with that move and how white went on to win material. Here the thing is that even though it looks like the black queen is very well defended by the pawn, we can actually take the queen, and after g takes h5, there's a move rook to g1 which wins the knight. So black cannot defend the knight on g2. So in this position, unfortunately for Anna, queen to h5 is a serious blunder, because after takes this g line opens up and we can pin the knight with the rook g1 move. The next example I have here is a game between Voit, Daria, and Zhongyi. Here white is winning. They have two extra pawns, and what Daria decided to do here, she decided to go for queen to h6, sort of forcing the queens off the board and essentially transposing into the winning endgame. You can pause the video here for a second and try to find what's wrong with this idea. The problem with this queen takes h6 is that after takes, black has this great move knight to f4 check, and after king to f3 we give up the knight for this pawn, and we end up in the position where white has bishop in the pawn, but it's an h pawn, and white's bishop is on the wrong color, so it's light square bishop, but the h8 is the dark square. So we have seen a similar example yesterday, where a similar motive was used to salvage half a point, and this is what happened. Unfortunately for Daria, she could not convert the advantage here. We are moving back to the open sections. From round 2 we have two examples here from the open section. Here we have a game between Iturrizaga from Spain and Quparadze from Georgia. In this position, it's looks like an equal position here, which it is, as a matter of fact. And white played rook to b7, attacking the pawn on f7, and again sort of putting the rook on the 7th rank. You can pause the video for a second and try to find the resource for black here. So black here played the move f6, sort of kicking out the knight. Eventually they went on to win the game. Giga Quparadze managed to win it, but here they had a great move, just knight to d8, attacking both knight on e5 via discovery and rook on b7 with the knight from d8. So white here is losing the materials. They cannot save the both pieces, so it seems like both Iturrizaga and Quparadze missed this move. The game continued with f6, but this knight to d8 move could have been played. Moving on to the next game, here we have a game between Aydin Suleymanli from Azerbaijan versus Yuriy Kuzubov from Ukraine. And what happened here, Yuriy played the move rook a to d8, and it seems like a sensible move which almost forces the exchange of the active rooks that the white has. But you can pause the video and try to find what combination Aydin Suleymanli could have played. He did not, as a matter of fact, but you can try finding a brilliant, in my opinion, combination which could have been played here. So the move which unfortunately for Aydin he didn't find is a knight f6 check. It's a very powerful check here. The idea here is that black cannot really take on f6. So if black captures on f6, we give a check on g4. King to h8 is essentially the only move, and after e takes f6, we are threatening a mate on g7. The only move which will stop it is going to be rook to g8. But here we just take the rook on d8. We're up in exchange, and we will mate black king very soon. So after knight to f6, the capture is not possible, and if white goes to king to h8, there is a very strong move here, which is queen to d3. So the idea behind this move is that we are threatening a mate on h7, and we are attacking the rook on d8. So it's sort of a double attack, the set of the mate, and x3 attack on the rook d8. So here black essentially has to take to avoid being mated, and white wins the exchange. So very strong move, very nice tactic in my opinion, which could have been played in the game. We are moving to the women section from the round 7. Here we have a very interesting example, very instructive, I would say. We have Nurgyul Salimova from Bulgaria versus Balajayeva Khanim from Azerbaijan. What happened here, white here has a strong pawn on b7 and they want to promote, and white played here bishop to a7, controlling this square of the promotion. We can pause the video and try to find the continuation which Nurgyul played to win the game. Here it's matter of fact, it's not really a tactic or any sort of a combination, but very instructive continuation which Salimova Nurgyul has played. So the first move is rook to a4, forcing bishop to b8, and after rook to a8, black bishop essentially has to stay on this b8 and f4 diagonal, and at this moment it has only 3 legal squares. So it's c8, d6, and e5. Black played bishop to e5. Salimova played f4, taking away that square. So now actually black has 2 squares available, and it turns out that bishop to d6 is not really playable, because after rook to a6 the bishop is pinned, and on the next move white will take the bishop and promote to the queen. So in this position, after f4, bishop to d6 is not playable, so the only square left is bishop to c7, after which white plays bishop to c8, and here Balajayeva Khanim, she gave a check on b6 and e3, moved back the bishop to a7 to again cover that square, but after rook to a8 she resigned because there is no way she can keep protecting that square on b8. So very interesting and very instructive, in my opinion, maneuver here, illustrated by Nurgyul to cut down the squares of the black bishop and eventually promote the b8 b7 pawn. We are moving into the open section. Here I have a game which is played between Kazybek Nogerbek from Kazakhstan versus Aleksandr Shimanov. Here in this position, White decided to capture a pawn on c3 with the rook, and I would like to pause you for a second and try to find the combination with which Aleksandr Shimanov played here. It turns out that the pawn on c3 is not really capturable after rook takes c3, knight takes c3. Black here has the move bishop to b4, attacking both knights, and White here loses the material after rook takes b4, knight takes b4. Black is up in exchange with the winning advantage. The next example I have here, it's all around Twitter and other social media today. It's a very obscure thing which happened today in the game between Surya Ganguly from India versus Madaminov Muhyiddin from Uzbekistan. What happened here is Madaminov played here knight to e5, and the question I would like to ask is, can White capture the knight on e5? In this position, Surya has captured that knight. Believe me or not, that move was played. I'm not making it up, and the game ended after queen takes f2. Yeah, it was some sort of catastrophe for Surya that he missed his mate in one thread, and shocking result for a very strong grandmaster. Now we have example from women's section in the round 7. We have an example. We have a game between Valentina Gunina and Priyanka Nottaki. Here Black has taken on c3 and White has recaptured the pawn. We can take a second to find the continuation for Black here. Now here, similar to the example we had where the pawn was not capturable in the game between Shimanov and Nogerbek, here the pawn is not capturable either, because after rook takes c3, we have rook b3, and this poor bishop is not defended, and White is going to be losing that piece. We have a nice example from round 9 of the open section. Here we have again a game of Aleksandr Shimanov versus Arseniy Nesterov. Here Black has played the move f5 check, and the question I would like to ask you, if White can capture ef6 en passant. So it's a move that Shimanov has played in the game. Try to think if that's a playable move. Unfortunately for Shimanov, it's not. He played the move and had to resign essentially in 2 moves. The problem with that move is that Black will take on f6 with the check, and after a move like king to d4, Black plays rook to d8, and this knight cannot be defended. So the knight on d6 would be lost. If, for example, White plays a move like king to e5, there's knight g3 check, picking up the rook, right? If they go to c5, there's a nice combination. Black first takes on d6 and then forks the king and the rook. So taking en passant was the mistake for Shimanov. Now we are moving to the last two examples here. We have a game between Gürel Edis from Turkey versus Henriquez Villagra, and here it's black to move. Black took the pawn on a3. We can pause the video for a second and think if that pawn is capturable. It's not. So after bishop takes a3, queen to g3 is a double attack, picking up the bishop. So quite a simpler, straightforward tactic was missed in the time trouble, unfortunately for Henriquez Villagra. The last example I have here for today is the game between Vaishali and Priyanka. Here Vaishali is trying to move her king to the queen side, and he played the move king to e1 here. Now it's black to move. Pause the video and try to think what would be the right continuation here. Now unfortunately for Vaishali, she had to resign after the move rook c1 check. The problem here is that king to e2 is the only move after which there is a knight to c3 fork, picking up the rook. That was it for today. Those were all examples I had here to show. If you were pausing the video and trying to solve the examples, please let me know in the comments how many of them you got right, and if you haven't checked the previous one I made, go check that one out as well. It's significantly longer than this one, but it's because I've managed to put together more examples. I hope you find the content interesting. I will be doing a similar video tomorrow for the day 3 of the World Rapid. So have a nice rest of the day. Bye for now. Take care.